All right, welcome back to another episode. Now, this episode is going to be something that I talk about, a little bit of how I started. And how I started with everything when it comes to my current two businesses or how I ended up here is all to do with my dad just being an entrepreneur, right? He's an immigrant that went to Canada and he started his own business, which was landscaping. It's not the most glorious job, but it got the job done to raise a family, right? He put $500 in his pocket and he went to Canada when he was in his 20s. And I think when you become an adult, you start to realize the sacrifices and the things that your parents have done, right? And when you have that kind of figure, it's nice to have because you can start being motivated by it. I think the point where I became more independent and more reliant on myself and taking more responsibility and accountability is when I pursued my career in professional golf. Now, I didn't become PGA Tour professional. I didn't really become, a super good pro. I was pretty much bottom of the barrel, I would say, in a sense, but, play some good rounds and posted some okay scores sometimes. And I'm kind of going off on a tangent right now, but bear with me because this is going to come around to my origin story, I guess, right? But learning golf was probably one of the most disciplinary things that I've ever done, just because you're fighting against yourself. You have no one else to blame but yourself. And I got really humbled real quick. And then fast forward a few years and I created my own marketing agency with 4 other friends and, took that marketing agency, got a few clients on board. And then after that, it was all kind of history, right? And then fast forward again, tried to pursue my golf career in China on the PGA Tour China. And, didn't really work out so well. My sponsor dropped me and I went into debt playing golf. And then I went back to Canada. My actual backup career was in automotive. And whether it was going to be a mechanic, I still had an apprenticeship that I could pursue and go do that to become a mechanic because I love working on cars, right? But then I worked at a auto body shop, 2 different ones actually, for a couple of years. And then after that, my parents decided to basically move, or, they lived in Canada for so long, they decided to move to Japan. So then, I said, hey, why not? Why not go to Asia, see what the actual vibe is like over there? And that's when my career took off. I lived in China after that, gained a lot of experience in logistic-wise and buying and selling mergers, worked for a fintech company. My first experience with having cryptocurrency and developing a cryptocurrency was in 2018. And then for the logistics company, I was actually the director of logistics. And I was in charge of getting the buyers and the sellers, right? So the sellers are the Chinese manufacturers and factories. So I traveled around the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 cities of China, built relationships with many different factories, selling things from chemicals all the way to, during the COVID period, masks and, a lot of different stuff, right? A lot of different stuff. I even saw factories that make those, sneakers and handbags that everyone's raving about, right? The fake ones. So I've had all these experiences in China. I built relationships. I built buyer relationships in foreign countries. And while it was going so good, the cough hit, right? After that, what ended up happening, I moved back to Japan, particularly in Okinawa, Japan. And then, from there, my career took off again. Started doing work for Snapchat and then also doing consulting for other businesses. Got a few clients. Even till this day, I still got clients. And then one day I got into contact with one of my friends from China and we started to do the crypto mining company, which we currently have, which is doing really well. And then we also have a marketing agency together as well. So we have 2 companies. So that's kind of my origin story or how I came to be who I am today. So I know a thing or two about being in different countries, doing marketing in different countries, and helping clients from all over the world, which is to do one thing: cut costs where it needs to be cut, increase budget where it needs to be increased, and hopefully that creates a bigger margin for profit. So that's what I've been doing for, the better part of my past 6 to 7 years. And I think while I sit here and I tell you these things, I want you to know that this happened over a course of many years. And when you're watching finance YouTube channels or YouTubers, or, some people don't call themselves YouTubers, they just call themselves a millionaire that just happens to have a social media platform. But it doesn't really matter who they are, right? But when you're listening to them, I highly recommend you to take into consideration of the time frame it took for them to become where or who they are today. Because I think a lot of people it goes woof over the head, right? And that is the reality of just kind of listening to a person online and just staring into the screen, right? Is you kind of don't hear the information about how long it took or the journey, because you don't really care for that kind of stuff. You only care about to make the money, right? To become a millionaire. But then you figure out that, it's not that easy. And then, you go buy someone's course and you're like, I don't want to do all that kind of stuff. I just paid $2,000 for stuff that I don't want to do. This guy's a scammer. And a lot of people just start blaming other people. And it's funny, us human beings are very, very uninclined to blame ourselves as the problem, right? Because for me, like I mentioned, I used to play professional golf and amateur golf as well. But when you play golf, you're an independent person, right? Sure, you have a caddy when you get to the higher level and, tell you advice and stuff. But at the end of the day, you are the one hitting that ball, right? Not the caddy, not everyone else, you. So you are responsible for everything that you do. And if you're not willing to learn about yourself, about how you are doing that day, then you're going to put yourself in a bad mood. You're going to put yourself down, and then you start going to blaming others for it, because that's the only way you know how to deal with your own problems. So anyways, I hope you learned something today. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, because again, I'm trying to reach that 50,000 subscribers so I can give away the ad revenue money to you guys and do philanthropy work. Okay. It's all I'm doing this YouTube channel for. Otherwise, I don't have to do YouTube channel. Like, I don't really care for it. I do make content, but I do make content for my businesses. So otherwise, I don't really need to be doing this, but I do want to do it for you guys because I want to help people, and this is my way of giving back.